Hello everyone, welcome. This is SharePoint Power Hour. This is our weekly show we do every day at 11 Central. We're glad to see you here. I'm Laura Rogers, and this is our team at Rackspace Hosting of SharePoint experts. Today we have different topics every week. Power Hour is usually about things that you can do in SharePoint and Office 365 using mostly out-of-the-box functionality. We don't really delve into hardcore coding, programming, or any kind of hardcore server admin. It's mostly kind of everything else you can do, all the different functionalities. This is episode 80, I believe. We've been doing this for over a year now, and they're all archived on our YouTube channel at SharePoint RAX. So just real quick before we get started today, if you're watching this from YouTube, you can click the little yellow icon that will take you over to the Google Hangout, because the Google Hangout has a little Q&A panel, and it gives you more interactivity. That's why we do it live, so we can get questions from you while we're going. And once you get over to the Google Hangout, it'll have a little icon towards the top right that will have some little squares. It will start off with a little app that's the what's it called? It's the Showcase app that lets us share hyperlinks with you, but then the other little app it lets you toggle over to is the Q&A app, and that will pull up a little panel for you to be able to ask us questions. So we'd love for you to ask us questions, and today our topic is going to be audit logs in SharePoint and Office 365. And now we're going to talk about Microsoft Ignite plans toward the end in the last 20 minutes or so. So again, I'll go ahead and introduce myself, and we'll go through everybody, and then Kevin's going to be doing his demo today. So Kevin, I'll let you go last. Again, I'm Laura Rogers, Microsoft MVP. I've been using my SharePoint for about 10, 12 years or so, and I'm the manager of all these lovely people at our SharePoint team at Rackspace. And let's see, we'll go ahead and start off with give some brief introductions with Joelle, then Ryan, then Kevin, then Tavis. Joelle, yeah, just go in order. All right, so Joelle, I'll let you go first.
Hey guys, this is Joelle Farley. I am a business solutions consultant with Rackspace, based out of Atlanta, Georgia. So a lot of the stuff that I do is all the out-of-the-box stuff, planning and design and governance and all of those fun things. And I am definitely looking forward to Ignite. I'll be there. If you see me around, or any of us, feel free to stop us and say hello.
Hi everybody, I am Ryan Keller. I am based out of Colorado. I am the branding guy on the team here at Rackspace, and as you might guess, my role is to brand SharePoint and make it look pretty. Been working with SharePoint since the year 2007, version 2003. Been doing branding pretty much exclusively for about the last 4 years or so. And I also will be at Ignite.
See, Stephen, you go next, and then Tavis.
Hello, my name is Stephen Wilson. I'm here on the business services team. I am the sort of admin migration specialist, so I do less of the business solution stuff except for right after the migration or right after an install of SharePoint. I kind of help you get going on the basics of what do you do next. You have SharePoint, what now?
And my name is Tavis Lovell, and I am the business intelligence developer on the business solutions team. So I deal with all things kind of reporting and dashboarding inside of SharePoint and SQL Server.
All right, and Kevin's going to be doing our audit presentation today, so there you go.
So, hi, my name is Kevin Hughes, architect here, SharePoint architect here at Rackspace. I'm based out of Kansas City. Been doing IT for a long time, and been focusing my efforts on SharePoint exclusively since 1900, 2007. I'm also going to be at Ignite, and today we're going to be talking about SharePoint auditing. So today is basically a quick guide to configuring auditing, viewing reports, and giving you some idea how to get some information about your SharePoint environment. So, what is auditing? That's not the IRS coming to get you. Auditing basically is a feature of SharePoint, SharePoint Server, and SharePoint Online to track which users have taken what actions on what sites, content types, lists, libraries, list items, library files in your different site collections and sites and so forth. Knowing who's done what with which information is critical for many business requirements such as regulatory compliance and records management. You manage the size of the audit log that we're going to pull our reports from in something called an Audit Log Trimming section, and you can specify which events to audit in the documents and items, lists, libraries, site sections of the different areas of the site. And we'll go over that in a demo in just a second. You can also specify the maximum number of days that items will be retained. By default, all items are removed at the end of a month. As a site collection administrator, you can retrieve the history of actions taken by a particular user and can also retrieve the history of actions taken during a particular date range. So you can see which users edited a specific document and when they did it. This is more than just going to see who last modified and what the last modified date is on a document. You can actually see a complete history of the document if your logging goes back far enough. So which events you audit depends on your auditing needs. So maybe if you need some sort of regulatory compliance that has specific requirements to dictate which events you'll need to audit, then you may be able to do that through the built-in auditing tools. I recommend that you only audit the events required to meet your needs, because additional unnecessary auditing can affect the performance and other aspects of your site. Now, I'll be showing you both the on-premises and Office 365 or multi-tenant versions of the audit settings. The only real difference is, I'll give you in just a second, but basically there's one report that you can't get in the multi-tenant environment. It's just a limitation of the multi-tenant itself. It has nothing to do with SharePoint's capabilities in that environment. So, in audit logging gives you all these different options, all these different capabilities to see different things going on in your site. So whether it is just opening or downloading documents, viewing lists and items, viewing item properties, which is very, very nice for the public websites or portal sites. You can also see who's doing what when it comes to actually affecting your content, or who's searching for what content. The searching reports that we'll show you are very nice to kind of tweak the environment, or to help you know how you need to tweak the environment in order to allow users to better use your environment. By finding out what they're searching for, maybe you can tweak the search or search results, or the refinement settings to be able to put in keywords or or more metadata about things in order to be able to find them more easily. And of course, finding out who's editing users and permissions will give you a nice view of the who's giving what permissions to who, and how the security of your site is being affected by different users over time. There are a lot of different reports available in the basic capabilities of SharePoint Server. These that I have listed here: content viewing, content modifications, deletion, and so forth. There's all kinds of different types of information you can get. We'll show you results of each one of these, as we go. The content viewing and modifications and deletions are probably the ones that I most often use. The finding out who is actually using the site, especially when the site is locked down to the bulk of a company only being able to read your content. This shows you what they're looking at and can also give you an indication of what they're not looking at. To give you maybe those areas need to be improved, maybe they need some extra metadata around them to show up in search results. And of course, modifications and deletion will let you find out who is changing your content in some way. And then the last one here, custom report, I often use in order to be able to filter exactly what the report is showing me, instead of just getting all of the who has viewed what content over the entire time of the report. I can use the custom report to be able to drill down to filter to, is this specific user viewing this specific site or content in this specific site or library over this specific date range. So I can, find out a lot of information there without having to pour through, extremely large Excel files sometimes. And all of these reports do show up as Excel files and are stored in SharePoint document libraries, and then they can be viewed from there or downloaded to your computer for storage, email, and so forth.
So Kevin, real quick, so once you have all that information in Excel, then you can potentially do Avis, maybe do other things with it, like some kind of Power Pivot coolness, or you're not really working with live data necessarily. It just spits out an Excel file, but then you could make it look cool and useful, right?
That is correct. Because it does store in Excel, you have all the power of Excel to be able to make it as pretty as you wish, or to surface some of that information into other SharePoint locations through the Excel web parts. And so you can actually, make a report page where you view this data without having to give users direct access or direct links to those Excel files.
Do you know if there's like a web service or anything you can call to get that information?
As we'll see in a minute, all this is done through the search service. So, which is so if you can leverage the search service through REST or some other web service, then you can certainly get all this information out.
It'd be nice if you could, like, instead of maybe exporting it to Excel list, I'm thinking maybe connect Excel to that web service, and then you could have like a refreshable report that shows this stuff. Maybe while you're talking, I'll try and figure out if that can be done.
All right. Well, we'll show you the basics, the stuff that people can do out of the box. Through any site collection administrator would be able to do, and then if you've got some other information about how to do things on a little more advanced level, we'll be happy to see that. I'd love to see it too. So there are some requirements in order to be able to make this work. If you're in an on-premises environment or a dedicated server hosting, such as at Rackspace, the auditing must be enabled at the farm scope before it will actually pull reports. And that's activated in the Secure Store Service application. We're not going to cover that aspect today because that's more administrative, and it's really only a couple checkboxes, and something your farm administrator would do. Then, of course, auditing must be enabled or configured on each site collection. So just because it's enabled or activated at the farm level doesn't mean that your site is automatically going to start accumulating data. You actually have to configure that you want to audit an individual site collection in order for it to start populating data. And of course, if you're in Office 365 or multi-tenant, this is already activated on the farm because it's activated for every tenant. But it must still be configured on each site collection, and you configure exactly what you're going to audit. And we'll show you that in the demo in just a minute. There's also, aside from the basic reports, there's also storage metrics, besides auditing, you can view storage metrics, which provide you reports on how much database space or storage space is being used by different aspects of your site. And you can trace sites that are using, this lets you trace which components, whether it be a list, a library, or subsites that are using more space. However, this may show the what I call wrong size of a list item or a specific document, because it shows, again, I call it the huge size of the documents, not the actual size, if you have versioning or version control or version tracking turned on for that list or library, because it's going to show the total amount of storage taken up by not just that document, but all of its versions. So if you have 300 versions still being, previous versions, including draft versions of a document that is, 10K in size, then you're, talking about a, 301 basically times that 10K, what it's going to show in the storage metrics. And I'll show you those in just a minute as well. And a lot of people have asked me, what about web analytics? Well, web analytics has been discontinued in SharePoint 2013. So it's it's basically no longer a separate component. It's part of the search service. We call that the analytics processing component, which includes search analytics and usage analytics. The search analytics analyzes content being crawled and added to the search index, and then usage analytics is all about user actions, clicks and views and downloads and so forth on SharePoint sites.
I hear that this seems like a very common misconception that I see when people see that, quote, web analytics no longer exists in 2013. They think that means you can't do any of that stuff anymore, but they just shifted it to, it's just called something else. It just exists somewhere else, right?
Correct. They found that the web analytics component in 2010 really didn't scale well to large enterprises where there's many hundreds of megabytes or gigabytes worth of data being stored in SharePoint, not just with files and lists, but also just the page content and multimedia things, and with the new search engine being so much more improved and more powerful in 2013, it seemed like the best way to go about things is to, yet again, as we so often do, leverage search and the search index to pull all that data. So it's just, let's use a more powerful component that does scale well with enterprise, but also will give you good results on a small scale as well. Another part of the analytics processing component, or with popularity in search reports, that's something you'll see in the site collection settings as well. This is where we can get reports on our searching and usage that we can actually report on site collection, sites, or list or library scopes. We don't just have to limit ourselves to what's going on at a site collection in that kind of holistic way. Popularity reports will give us, who's clicking on what, or how many unique IDs are doing things, and how many unique IDs are performing search queries. And the search reports are again going to give us unique IDs that the various types of reports we'll show you in just a second, that you can pull either by day over the last 30 days or by month, which is over the last 3 years. At the site level, we use popularity trends when we want to find usage, which is under the site settings and site actions. At the list or library level, we use most popular items, so we can find out what people are most, or what items in a list or library are most popular for that list or library. So we can't just go to one place. It's not like we can go to site settings, pull up these reports. If we want to actually get site or list scoped reports, we do have to go to a couple different places, but we'll show you those in the demo. Speaking of the demo, here it is. So first thing we want to do, oh wow, there's Laura. I want to show you, here's, in a basic site, it's a basic site. We're going to assume that we're a site collection administrator. Therefore, we have all the power to do everything that we're going to show you today. If someone is just in the site owners, then they would not necessarily be able to get or in a sub-site, you wouldn't necessarily be able to get to these first set of reports that we're going to show you. But site owner would still be able to get reports on his site or list or library that is in that site. So if we're going to site settings, we for site collection administrators or owners, this may be a very familiar area. We scroll down to our site collection administration area, and we're going to look for our site collection audit settings first. Again, we're going to assume this is turned on at the farm level. The first thing we notice here is that we have the ability to trim the size of the log if we so desire. The default is no. If we do wish to trim that and limit the size of the log, which is not a bad idea if we're going to audit everything, we can specify a number of days for the log to be retained, so maybe 14 days or 7 days, especially if we know we're going to be gathering a lot of information. And if we can specify a specific document library where we store audit reports before they are trimmed. So this would basically mean that with this setting, every 7 days we would get a log stored in a particular location. Let's say we wanted to store it in our shared documents folder. So every 7 days there would be a report there written for whatever is present before the trimming occurs. So this would be a good way to get an automatically updated report every 7 days, or every 14 days or whatever. If you don't trim it, then there is no automatically create and specify storage location. There is no automatically generated auditing report. They're all generated manually. Now, as we referenced before, there likely is a way that we can use the search service to go in through some sort of BCS or web service programming to get this information ad hoc, but we're going to show you just what is available today. By default, all these boxes are unchecked. I've checked them all in order to be able to run some reports for this demo. We also have, I'm going to show you another site here. This is a on premises. This one is online. You notice the options available: editing items, checking out or checking in items, and so forth. The on premises, though, does give us one other option, and that is this opening or downloading documents, viewing items and lists, or viewing item properties. This is only available if you're on premises. It is not available in a multi-tenant environment.
That's very interesting to know. That's a common thing that people want, right?
It is the most common thing people want, and curiously enough, I'll show you an eccentricity with the multi-tenant here in just a second about this. So if you're on premises, you can view all about everything going on. If you're in a multi-tenant environment, then you can view most everything that is going on. So let's get back to our site settings. And note we're still in our Office 365 demo area here. The very next thing under the site collection audit settings, once you decide what you're going to audit, then you have the ability to go to the very next item, Audit Log Reports. Now notice I said that we don't have the ability to audit content viewing, but we still can run a report on it. When we do so, and I'll show you this just to show you the process, the viewing, every time you run a report, you have to save it somewhere. So again, I'm going to choose our shared documents. Most of the time when I set up auditing for my clients, I will actually, there's an audit reports library here. I set up an audit reports library for them to use, which we can make sure is especially if it's on premises, since it's in Excel, we have to make sure that that is a Excel services trusted location for them to be able to open it directly from the library. In Office 365, it's not a big deal. It already is. So once we click OK,
but in on-premises, you have to go out of your way to make sure it's trusted. In Office 365, it's trusted by default. Is that what you're saying?
Correct. In Office 365, it's already trusted because all those settings are turned on in a specific setting that we can't change in Office 365. On premises, we have a lot of control over exactly what happens in a Excel trusted location. But in Office 365, they're already preset, and they're set to pretty much the most secure settings you can have and still open Excel files. But anyway, this is actually, if you run that report in Office 365, you'll get this report contains no data. And that's because we can't audit it there. If we run the same report on premises, then we'll actually get a report. And I'll show you the result for another. We'll show you another report here that we will run. A lot of times, though, in on-premises environments, if you don't trim, that report will fail, and it will error out because it will time out if you don't trim, because it's going to track basically the last 3 years of activity for that, just in case you are looking to get more report, even though the last 30 is all that it's going to do a report on. If you're heavily used environment, there may be too much data for the service to actually finish compiling the report, and it will time out and give you an error. I have run into that. There is a way around that, though, with using a custom report. So I'll show you how to run a custom report getting that same data. So on a report that's not going to fail, what you actually get is this little working on it. This shouldn't take long, and it normally doesn't. And you'll get a operation completed successfully. You have the ability to either view the report directly from here or click OK, and you're taken back here to the settings with the assumption that you're going to run some other reports. So I've got some reports that I've already run just for the sake of time here. We have so content viewing. I'm going to show you what some of these reports actually look like. Now I've downloaded them to my PC. If you've got Outlook or if you've got Office Web App Server, then you should be able to, and you have these in a trusted location, you should be able to view these online. Here's some of the information you get from that content viewing report. You get basically how many views for this particular item, which may or may not actually be accurate. Now I'll tell you what I mean there. Say I bring up a page that has this page here that has multiple views of lists on it, all those lists those list views are going to actually indicate to this report that I viewed that list, even though I only viewed the page. So by viewing the page with list views or library views on it, I'm also viewing that list or library, and that's going to be reflected in here with more hits. Now this does indicate unique IDs that have gone to this particular location. Now, like this is a good thing here. This is actually the web, or this is where I viewed this picture, but this picture was in this folder. So I viewed that folder plus I viewed that picture in that folder. So they are two separate things. So it takes a little bit of practice to understand exactly what you're seeing in these reports. But it does, and as you can see with a very large site, you get a large number of entries to a grand total in the last 30 days of 169,217 unique IDs that have accessed these 3,227 items. Now that may be that those that they're obviously not 169,000 unique IDs, but they're unique IDs that have accessed these 3,200 items in some way. So again, it really takes some time to digest what is in the report, which may be something better for the custom programming aspect, pivot tables, or some sort of web service that goes in and actually can understand the relationship between these items. The second tab here is going to give you more technical information about, it's going to give you site ID, item ID, what it is, list, document, item, and so forth. Going to give you actual dates, whether it was a view, and this is just a view report. So it's only going to report views, but if we'd pulled a report like a custom report that included views and edits and deletions, then you'll see the different events listed here. I'll show you those in a second as well. And of course, it's going to show you some versioning data, and it's going to show you the source. This is from SharePoint. If we were accessing this from another location, then it would, also show that source. So if we're pulling or pushing data or viewing data from another server, maybe we're pushing data from a line of business system into SharePoint, then it would show that server name. So let me show you some other reports here. Another one that we might see. Oh, that's just viewing too. I should actually read what I'm looking here. Okay. And I believe this is this just views as well? Yeah, because this is the one I was going to show you how to run just the view. I think this one actually, yeah, this one has report information about all kinds of different things on it. This is a custom report, so I'm going to show you the different events. So you see schema mask, audit mask change. This was a search, updates. So you can see all kinds of different types of events. Reason for the big spaces here is because it's pulling all kinds of different information to show you.
Is that useful, kind of all that code that's buried in there? Is that useful in any way in reporting?
I think it would be, because it's showing you everything there is, about the all the different fields that are referenced or returned by, like this search result. It's showing you the different fields that are returned and about that document that somebody searched for and then clicked on, or appeared in search results. So it really depends on exactly what you're looking to do, what kind of information you're pulling. Like this is a schema change, so this is going to tell you information about what changed. So this might be where we're where we've created a list or library and put in a new column. So that changed the list schema, and therefore this is going to show you what was changed.
Kevin, one of the questions I get a lot is I get people who will say, hey, we have a document that was deleted sometime in the last week, and we want to go back and find out who deleted the document. And 99% of the time when I get it, they don't have the auditing set up to begin with. So they really have nothing then. But if they did have it set up, what would you tell them in that case?
If they did, then I would tell them to go into the Audit Log Reports, and assuming that they were auditing the deletion, there's a deletion report. So this,
we usually tell them to go look in a recycle bin, right? And then the report is kind of like the next. Yeah.
Yeah. The recycle bin will always, hold the last 30 days of what has been deleted, and we'll have some information about what was going on at that time. But if you really want to see, a holistic view, say, or if your recycle bin is just huge, you've got thousands of items in a recycle bin, and don't want to have to pour through that page by page by page, you can, of course, pull this deletion report and then apply Excel formulas or tools or whatever, or filters to be able to get information out of this. And it's okay. So there's nothing been deleted out of here. Let's. I'm not doing deletion here. So yeah, you got to have deletion auditing turned on. I think I might have a picture somewhere of a deletion report, but
so when they are auditing things, they don't necessarily have to be running those reports on a consistent basis, but if it's something that they would be interested in, that's something that they need to capture in the audit, even if it's not something they do a consistent report on.
Correct. That is correct. Because if they're not auditing it, then there's not going to be anything in the deletion report. Let's see. I've got. Let me pull up another window here.
You probably already have this planned, but the first thing that I think about just running this auditing all the time is, you're probably about to talk about this, is the implications on performance and hard drive space and things like that. And I know we've got just like 5 more minutes or so until we have slated to talk about.
So here's an example. I know it's blurry, but here's an example of a deletion report. So it'll show you the deletion, restorations, and who did it, and what time, and where it came from. So there's an example of a deletion report. All right. So next I'm going to show you, instead, there's a lot of different reports there. We can run out of time here, but I want to also show you that this is what storage metrics look like. We talked about, this is where you can find out how much data is being used by what sub-site or list or library. And so, if you set quotas, it's going to say give you how much is free out of the storage quota. And this is, going to give you basically an overview of how much data, how much storage space each component in your site collection is being used. And if you drill down to a specific site, then you have all that site scoped storage as well. Then also want to show you popularity and search reports. The usage reports, number of queries. This is also something that a lot of my clients want to know, especially when they first roll out the SharePoint environment. They want to know if it's being adopted, so they go to the usage report. And a usage report, it's just basically going to, it's not something you have to choose where it's going to be stored. It automatically comes up as Excel, and you get to either open it or save it. If you open it, then this is what a usage report looks like. This one, being a demo site, doesn't have a lot of usage. but you can get an idea of the number of hits and unique users on a particular day for your usage, and of course some nice graphs. Again, since this is Excel, if it's stored in SharePoint, you can use this to surface these graphs, especially for executives or reports of some sort. And the search, yes.
Reports, is that something that you have to know to turn on as well, or is that just automatically running?
This is turned on if the usage logging is turned on at the farm level in the on-premises, but if it's in this being Officer 65, it's already turned on. So on premises, if we went to the same thing, we'll probably be able to get you a little bit more. Where is it? Up here in search reports. So a usage report here is going to show you some more usage over some more time. This site launched last year, so you can see the number of hits they're getting in on a particular day. And how many unique users. But again, this hits is every, so if on a page we're surfacing a lot of content that is, surfaced from other components, lists, libraries, albums, and so forth, then that's also going to be shown here. And this hits is also not unique users. This is your unique users. So these 48 people may have come to this site on this particular day 1,000 times each. Oh, I love that cough button. Again, if you want to look at queries by day, by month, queries that are abandoned, meaning that they, that people aren't willing to wait for it to come up, or they search and don't click through to something. And no results. If some people are searching for terms, these are very good for the immediate launch. If people are searching for terms that return no results, might want to look into those and come up with some way to reference documents either through more metadata, enterprise keywords, and so forth. And of course, if we, on the administrative side, are changing our query rules, then this will give you to get customized query rules. These will tell you which ones are actually being used and how often they are being used. And of course, number of queries, that's a nice one here. How many times people are actually using search at all. In this case, this site, not very long or not very often. That could be that they don't know about search. It could also be that the pages are designed so that people are clicking on the things they most often need instead of having to search. So it could be one of a couple different things.
Nice. So as we kind of wrap it up, I wanted to see before you finish if Tavis, you were kind of looking into that. Did you come up with anything?
It looks like there is no REST service or anything that you can call on either Office 365 or on-premise, so that's unfortunate. So if you're wanting to do some additional reporting with this and not have to constantly rebuild it in Excel every time the new report came out, the only thing I can really think of is to just take those Excel documents, pull them out of a list using something like integration services, and kind of build your own data source to do additional reporting. But that would be a lot of effort.
There are also third-party providers that do provide more reporting, more customized reporting. So it's if you really want more than what we can get out of the box, that's always an option as well.
All right, Kevin. I saw that you had a Q&A. You had the very last slide come up.
Well, it's just the last slide. Thank you very much. That's my demo. I'll be at Ignite if anybody has other questions.
Awesome. That was very useful. So I think in summary, what I took away from that is that you have audit logs, and that's something that you have to know to turn on before you'll actually have all the information about people viewing and editing and deleting things. But then you also have the search query stuff, which is I think it's just, so you said it's just on out of the box, and then you can look at kind of the numbers around search queries and what people are querying and things like that, and that's kind of different than the auditing, so it's kind of two different things that you can go look at, right?
Yep, so you can get information all about who's using your site and how.
All right, nice. So this is kind of the last 15 minutes or so is our portion on talking about Microsoft Ignite, and everyone in this room is going to be there, all except for Tavis. He wasn't able to make it, but I added Lori and Todd to this meeting, and the reason they kind of came as our guests in here is I have co-presentations with both of them. So we're just going to real quickly kind of go over what our sessions are and what they're about, and then I want kind of all of you, like Joelle and everybody, to kind of chime in on what you're looking forward to there too. So I guess the first one in the order of things is the Sunday one. Oh, right, Todd? So what are we doing Sunday, Todd?
Praying that the students don't come rush the stage and beat us with chairs, I think is...
We're doing an all-day pre-day session about Todd and I are about OneDrive for Business, and it's called End-to-End OneDrive for Business Planning, Deployment, Best Practices, and Adoption Techniques. And it is going to be all-encompassing. It's going to have Todd's nerdy stuff about authentication and hybrid, getting everything kind of connected, and it's going to have just the end-user experience and getting everyone to adopt it, and from an IT perspective, the admin of all that, right?
Yep, it's going to be a lot of crazy, fun stuff. Like we were talking yesterday, this is going to be good. This is going to be the free sample of Crack, the OneDrive for Business stuff to kind of get your toe in the water of the hybrid business. They're going to give you just that little taste for free, and that's what we're going to show. So it's going to be how to get the hybrid stuff up and going, and then it's going to be OneDrive for Business.
Yep, and and then the one Friday that Lori and I have is it's funny because here's Lori Cowan in the chat window here, but she and I started working together at a large healthcare company about 12 years ago or so. We were Exchange admins, and we got thrown into SharePoint, and the rest is history. But so we have our background is server admins, even though kind of both of us kind of went different directions over the years. She works at Microsoft now, and she's more, I think you kind of stayed more the IT pro technical side, and I kind of went more towards working with the business and the end users, and we kind of both do both of those things though. But so Lori, what's our session about Friday morning at 9 a.m.?
About how to get people to use stuff without complaining about it so much.
Driving user adoption from a technical standpoint for SharePoint and Exchange and Office 365.
Right. It's basic. And it's kind of funny that you mentioned that I'm more IT pro and you're more end user, because when we started out, you were the IT pro and I was doing all the end user stuff, and now we flip-flopped. But yeah, it's a lot of the stuff that you and I have experienced, people with the common complaints and reasons why they don't want to use SharePoint or don't want to use Exchange, or just things that they complain about. So how we can help IT pros to remedy those issues. There's some pretty cool tips and tricks out there, that stuff that you and I have found that we went, wow, that's really cool, let's play with that. And it solves some pretty cool problems. So that's kind of what we're going to be doing.
Yeah, one of the funny kind of quotes around this is that where we used to work, I remember I just love SharePoint so much, and I remember just kind of digging around in Central Admin, just kind of finding discovering everything in there. And there was a lot less on the internet back then about what everything was, just, help in general. And so I was just kind of digging around, trying things, and you come across little things like promoted sites and like publish links to Office applications and things that have been around for a while. And I remember saying to my boss at the time on our server team, this looks like this could be really useful to be able to target specific sites to specific audiences of people in our company, and maybe we should look into that. And I remember my boss saying, well, the business hasn't asked for that. But then I remember thinking, well, they didn't know it was there, so how would they know to ask for it? So that's kind of just the gist of what this session is going to be. It's the nice, useful things that we have access to in Central Admin and as IT pros that are going to be helpful to just the end user, the business users, and what their experience with SharePoint to make them hate it less. Yeah.
Yep, it's going to be fun. There's so many cool little things. We're trying to figure out how to cram it all into that little
time. Be cram-packed, yeah. So the rest of you guys, I know you're all going to be around. We're going to try and do a power hour while we're there on Wednesday. We're going to have a Rackspace booth there at the conference at Ignite, and we're going to have a whole big team of us there. So we actually have the ability to do present sessions in our booth, and I'm still coordinating with the booth, the marketing people, and all that on getting a power hour done there live while in the booth. So I don't have any details on that yet, but we're going to try to have an in-person power hour, and I think that would be awesome. So you guys, Joelle, Kevin, everybody, what kind of are you looking forward to? Or you or any sessions you're looking forward to, or just kind of opinions?
I'm looking forward to just meeting a lot of people, hearing hopefully some of the newest things about SharePoint 2016. And then as an administrator, I'm interested in a lot of the stuff that has to do with the servers and the operating systems and all that stuff too.
Joelle, I'm going to call you out.
I mean, it's the same thing. I actually haven't taken, to be 100% honest, I haven't taken much time to look at the schedule because I have a different kind of pass, so I haven't really had the time. But I probably would want to see anything about SharePoint 2016 and just any of the functionalities that we've been seeing come out in Office 365, like the Office Graph and Delve and those things, and how those things are going to be incorporated into 2016, if at all. So I'll be interested to see that, and also just if they're going to say anything more about forms. Obviously that's a big thing. And then just more stuff. I have an interest in Office 365 and what they're doing with that. So just seeing more things around that. That's pretty much what I'm looking forward to. And also all the parties. Let's be honest.
Party. Let's see, Ryan. What about you? Branding stuff, right?
Yeah. Hopefully they're. Like Joel, I haven't had a ton of time to dig into the schedule, but yeah, hopefully looking forward to seeing what's new with 2016 and seeing if they give any branding hints. But yeah, mostly the drinking and debauchery.
Speaking of that, there is a SharePoint that is Monday night at, where is that? Anybody know that off the top of your head? There's one Monday night and there's one Thursday night. So SharePoint is where all the SharePoint people get together and share a pint. But there's one that's I'm pulling up Outlook right now. Just see if I can shout that out where that is. Ange has a question in the chat window. He says he's curious about just the sessions being available. Where they'd be available to watch after 24 hours. I believe that's on the Channel 9, Microsoft MSDN Channel 9 channel. Does anybody know, Todd?
Yeah, that's what they've done in the past. I had myself muted so you couldn't hear all the noise going on in my office, the jackhammering and all that. Yeah, so usually that's going to be on Channel 9. I think they told us at that roundtable they were hoping to have it out in a day, but I haven't heard anything about that since then. But soon, sure.
And right now on Channel 9 they have the Build 25 or 2015 conference going on. So
they conflict with Power Hour, so I was watching it up until the point that Power Hour started.
That was incredibly poorly planned by them and inconsiderate that they would do that at the same time as Power Hour.
Hello, every Wednesday at 11 Central. Come on.
You guys have been here forever. There's no way they could have not known.
So, I found the details about the SharePoint. So Monday night, 7 p.m., Virgin Hotel, Manor Room, SharePoint, and then another SharePoint Thursday night after the big Microsoft Ignite celebration at Howl at the Moon. And Lori and I don't know if we're going to be able to go to that one, considering we have a Friday 9 a.m. session. I don't know if we'll be doing the after party. Just saying. Anybody else have any feedback that hasn't chimed in yet?
I wanted to pimp my upgrade session also. That's Wednesday morning at 10:45-ish, I think.
Awesome. Oh, and I'm on a panel too. I almost forgot about that.
Yeah, so we should bring out for the people that are going to Ignite. Today they dropped, or yesterday they dropped Ignite apps for all the major platforms, Android and iOS, and even Windows Phone. Holy crap! We Windows Phone folks get a new app. I'm so excited when there's new apps. And also, so you can go out and download that, and you can put in like speakers and exhibitors and all that, and it's got all kinds of good stuff in it. And then they also released a couple of days ago the conference guide as a OneNote. And so you can go out to the Ignite site, and it'll drop it in OneNote for you, so you can sync it offline. It's got everything. I just published a blog post about all my Ignite sessions, and there's links to both of those things in there.
That's toddclint.com.
Yeah, I started this blogging thing. Let me know how it turns out. But yeah, I got this little blog at toddclint.com. So that name wasn't taken already. I was kind of surprised. But yeah, so that's got links to all that stuff there.
Yeah, y'all go dig through that guide because it has got a ton of content in there. You don't want to wait till the very last minute when you get there to start looking at it, because there are a lot of things that you don't want to get there and then just not realize that you missed something that was buried somewhere in the guide. So, oh, and then real quick, I'm on an MVP panel Thursday at 10:45. There are a handful of us MVPs talking about just the changes in Office 365 Azure on premises, and just basically improvements and scenarios and things like that. Me and Jennifer Mason, Dan Home, Christian Buckley, a couple of other people. I don't remember off the top of my head. Sorry. Cool. Lori and I get to go to a meeting doing a dry run for our session in 4 minutes. So it's going to be a lot of fun. You ready? All right.
So not ready.
Awesome. Yeah. Well, thanks, Todd, for reminding me to pimp all those other things and mention all those other things. And thanks, Kevin, for the audit log information. That was really helpful. That's one of those things that people ask about all the time. And speaking of the conference, one of the things that we get asked about all the time is the upgrade to 2016 and what they need to be prepared for. So that's going to be awesome to be able to learn a lot of that stuff, because people are worried about their hybrid breaking and just any scenario that could come up. So we'll see how that turns out. All right, cool. Well, we'll wrap it up. Thanks everybody for watching. We had up to like 16, 17 viewers. Everybody else is watching the Build conference live right now. So, but this is recorded and you can watch it anytime. So thanks everybody for joining us. Over and out.